I got the number just as I turned it off, so sorry about that. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Let me see if I can get the chat going here because this is all a bit odd. Can't see any of the chat, but if you're watching, welcome along, and thanks for tuning in. Flying a bit blind here as we look at IndyCar qualifying Group One, which I don't believe involves Mr. Armstrong. Okay, now I've got 0 viewers again. This is just bizarre. Oh, hang on. Now I can see the chat on my phone, which is odd. Uh, okay. Bit distressing. There's some chat in the chat about Clem getting disqualified. Just gonna have a quick look on the old Insta there. His tyre pressures were too low. Great. 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 No, that's perfect. That's actually that's brilliant. That's everything we needed. As we look at the IndyCar qualifying, this sucks. Fuck me, the wheels have fallen off once and for all. Hang on, I'm gonna have to recover this. Sorry about that. Yeah, well, that was poetic in ways. Oh, and Pato O'Ward has spun around with 6 minutes to go in this qualifying session. I wonder whose fault that was. Deary me. And he's stalled the wagon. Currently at the top of the timesheet, so shouldn't be in too much trouble. But and they're gonna freeze the clock as well, so people will get out there for another lap. I'm just gonna power on here, folks, and not dwell too much on the news coming from the FIA in Formula 2 because it's gonna make me really depressed. Fuck. Oh, so apparently there's a few people having issues with the old streams there. So Max Futral's in a bit of hot water as well. And here we're going to have words from the man himself, Clamogio. You're on the stream.
Am I on the stream?
Yeah, you're live.
Oh, you backbone.
Say good
How's
day
it
to
going?
everyone. Yeah, well, mate.
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
Shit, it's not going as well as it was going 10 minutes ago.
Oh, mate, don't worry. Team made a mistake, but it is what it is. Didn't actually gain any performance. It's just,
No, well, I
bit of a shame.
would have thought that your tire pressures would have been quite high because you had so much pace, especially on the restarts. I would have thought they'd be through the roof. But
Yeah, but I don't know, mate. It is what it is. It happens. Team's made a mistake. Well, we all do. I've made mistakes before as well. So,
Hey, at least we got to see you set the world on fire. That was pretty grouse.
do you like my moves?
Mate, unbelievable. Like, actually so grouse. You need to watch the stream back on the old Twitch there.
Did you go crazy?
Oh, like a fucking like I was on leave from Shutter Island, mate. I was absolutely all go. Um, the out, okay, yeah, the one on the outside of Hadjar was special, and then
Yeah.
the gladiatorial nature of the move on Correa at 3.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, 10 out of 10, top marks.
Yeah. But I'm glad you watched it, mate. I'm glad you were on it. You backbone.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Work doing the hard yards. Just tuned in for Armstrong's qualifying session. See if he can muscle his way to another P11.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, I wish I could watch, but Wi-Fi's a bit short out here because too many people around the track and that, and got no internet. But
Yeah,
I'd be watching otherwise.
some technical difficulties actually on Twitch as well. Extending as far as connectivity issues and my iPad falling off the stool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's a great product. It's just a shame that the organisational side of it around it is pretty poor. But
yeah, it's hard when, as you know, mate. It's hard when you've got to do all the work on your own.
Yeah.
And your equipment lets you down.
Without your second backbone there, with you, a bit more hard, isn't it?
The yin and yang, you know.
Yeah, and then the der brain.
Yeah, for Christ. Yeah, see what he can pull out of his ass in this one.
Hey, I hope he's inspired from my driving this morning.
Well, who wouldn't be, mate? Who wouldn't be?
Yeah, it was a good race. I'm pretty pleased, I've got to say. But hey, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I just wanted to say, give you a little call and say g'day.
Oh, yeah, g'day.
And glad I've said g'day to all the backbones on stream there as well. And
you guys.
Wishing you all a good evening.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for doing so, mate, and we'll be in touch shortly.
Yeah, sounds good, mate. Have a good one.
Ciao.
Enjoy the stream.
Comments and thoughts of Clement Novalak there, coming to you live from Spielberg. This looks a bit like I'm speaking into a hairbrush or something. So O'Ward's out of the car. He's been dropped down to P13. So there's some kind of ruling that means he's not allowed to crack on. Well, howdy doody. Who would have thought? Not me. Try and sort my hair out here. Really sort of navigating. You know when you get a new haircut and you sort of need to figure out how it works? Like, it doesn't come with an instruction manual per se, which would have been helpful. So just trying to figure out what to do with it here, folks. Bear with me. That seems to look pretty much relatively alright, / exactly the same as it did before I started fucking around with it. Alright, so shots of Rossi here, who sits P5. We've got Alex Palou in this group as well, who's absolutely, dare I say, running away with the championship. I believe 3 out of the last 4 wins, and only cruelly robbed, arguably, at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 5 minutes to go in this session. This is essentially the Q1 of IndyCar qualifying here at Mid-Ohio. Place where my hero, Scott Dixon, historically has gone very well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can muster up on track. Do thank you for joining us. As we see one of the McLarens flying by. Now, it's an interesting start-finish setup here. Now, this is technically turn 1 he's just gone through. And then you shoot up, and then there's a hairpin, which is turn 2, and then you cross the start line. So the start line is actually different to the finish line. Bit of IndyCar knowledge for you there. Let me have a look at some of the chat. Can you do a time sync up? Yes. 3 minutes and 45 seconds to go. And just, I mean, I hate to. Elon wants to sort of pay for Twitter. As we hear from Ryan Hunter there. Just a piece of free advice. There was some chat in the old F2 sprint race there, and in some of the other streams about me being behind. Well, then you're in luck, because what you can do is you can just pause your TV and pick up back along with where I'm at. I do now understand that you can't pause Twitch, so if I'm ahead, then you're kind of fucked. But if you're ahead of me, all it is you just need to hold your horses, wait for me to catch up with you, and pick it back up. Because, I mean, you're not missing anything that live. I mean, if you've ever been to a sort of sports event and seen the delay on the big screens to what you're actually able to see live, I mean, this is probably a minute and a half delayed anyway by the time it's broadcast up to the satellite and beamed back down to the United Kingdom. So just don't stress. It's all good. Just, sync her up. Anyway, there's some people doing my job for me in the chat. So yeah, people, if anyone's not familiar with the IndyCar qualifying format, basically they split the field into two, and they send one group out, and then they lose everyone but the top 6 from that group is then out. That's the position. And then the second group goes out. Same thing happens again. Top 6 go through. Then you've got you've got 12 remaining. You send those 12 out. Top 6 go through. Bottom 6, that's where you start. And then what they call the Firestone Fast 6, which is relatively self-explanatory. It's the fastest 6 cars, and they do one final session to determine the first 6 spots of the grid. As we see Alex Palou flying down the straight there, and we quickly cut away now to a shot of Scott McLaughlin. He's pretty rapid. Puts it P2 for now. Oh, and here's another thing just to throw some more confusion into the bucket. The timing line is before the finish line, I think. So, yeah. So the timing line comes first. That's where they get the lap time. Then there's the finish line, which in this session really doesn't mean anything. And then there's the start line, which all 3 different points around the circuit. So yeah. Marcus Ericsson puts in an absolute stormer just as they start to talk about his contract. He's about a 10th up, almost exactly on Alex Palou, so he's now right on board with Newgarden through the undulation of this Mid-Ohio circuit. Really been described as a roller coaster, and you can see why when you're right on board. An exciting lap. But it's not going to be enough for Joseph Newgarden, who remains in 8th position. As a reminder, that's 2 spots out of what he needs to progress to the next qualifying session. As he's going to bring it into the pit lane. He's clearly not fueled for another, so that'll be it for the Indy 500 champion. So, geez, we've lost in that session Rossi, Newgarden, and O'Ward. Wouldn't have said that going in, but hey, look, that's motor racing. Rossi now looking at the data. It's pretty close up the top, but quite a gap between pole and P6, or P1 and P6. About 6 tenths there. So dominant from Ganassi early on. Hopefully that bodes well for Armstrong, but he has struggled a bit in the early practices here so far this weekend. Some well deserved praise here coming in for David Malukas. So we can expect. Sorry, just trying to catch up on some of the chatting. Yes, so you can expect to see Marcus Armstrong out in the next session. Um, as we hear from Pato Award from the NBC crew. Oh, Award saying it was his mistake in this instance. Something I haven't heard him say before. Yeah, he's just got on the power and over rotated the rear. So I will return to speaking now. Yeah, some comments coming in about Pagano's crash. Holy fuck. Wild. Big. The rotations look dramatic, but that is exactly what you want to see because that's all just energy being absorbed and it's taking away from the sudden stops that obviously we don't like to see. That was massive. So Newgarden trudges his way back to the motorhome. Also, some questions coming in regarding who the hottest IndyCar driver, and I'm fairly sure it is Joseph Newgarden. Happy to hear your alternative opinions, but uh, yeah, I'm pretty certain it's Newgarden. I mean, Hunter Ray's a hot dad. He's a bit of a dilf, very American looking. Apparently, Pelot's dad is fucking unreal, like super hot. I do know that Pelot's dad is actually younger than Scott Dixon, which is a fact. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much it. I mean, there's no outstanding. I mean, Marcus Ericsson's he's pretty hot. Um, yeah, there's definitely a few studs, but I mean, nothing really holding candles anything close to the likes of Charles Leclerc in Formula One and several others. Alexander Rossi expressing his confusion. And there's another McLaren getting all sorts of sideways. This one doesn't loop it. So I believe that was Rossi. Geez, there's some time between these sessions. Uh, there's some people asking what I think of Clem's disqualification. I think it's shithouse, but I'm glad that he's not too beaten up about it. That's what I really care about. So If he's cool, I'm good. Everyone saw he can do the job. That's one of the most important things. Um, a lot of the time, sometimes the sympathy is better than the points as far as junior careers go. Write that down. Yeah, you can see the sight. So Pagenaud had his crash at the end of that straight there as we look at an aerial view of this Road America circuit. As the second group rolls out with 9:50 on the clock, by the way. Uh, yeah, if Pagenaud bounced slightly different, he really could have just disappeared off into the woods. There's not a lot around this circuit. It's quite nice looking. The curbs look a bit secondhand now. I feel like they could. Oh, that one's quite nice, the red and white one. But I don't understand what the yellow and red ones all look a bit shit. I reckon they need to sort those out. Give it a bit of a once over, bit of a working bee. Get the backbones down. Take the old Friday off work there. Bit of elbow grease and hard work never hurt anyone. Yeah, the inside curbs are okay, but I don't like the exit curbs. They look shit. When are you getting merch? Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, definitely by the end of the year. It's actually it's quite complicated to produce merchandise, as it turns out. But we got a couple of people who we're talking to, so hopefully it's not too far away. We are working on it, but it is actually quite difficult. As we ride on board Colton Herter as he starts his lap, fires it through T1. Now up towards the hairpin where Pato O'Ward had his struggles earlier. We see how Herter negotiates it. Long double apex. There's a few different lines you can take through there. Power down as he comes down onto the back straight now and up through the gears. 4th, 5th. Finally up into 6th before he starts hitting the rev limiter and the braking zone. He'll be down 3 or 4 gears. Flick it over to the right as we cut away to Christian Lundgaard. And the number 45 machine. All right, tuning back in. So as they run, 7 minutes 25 seconds left to go in the session now. Armstrong, as it sits, is P10 in this group, but he's on a lap, but so is pretty much everyone else, so still not too much to read into here yet. And it's Herter up the top, who's a fantastic one-lap driver, it has to be said. My back is much better today. Thank you for asking. Yeah, had a case of the old rooters back there, and it was fucking bloody agony for for a day or so. But no, it's significantly better today. I decided to rest up. I went down to the sauna last night, soothed myself, which sounds slightly filthy. Backbone temporary tattoos. Yeah, it's an idea. Ilott with a stonking lap up into P4. Armstrong really needing to pull his finger out now. He's on a lap which should allegedly put him 6/10ths up. Needs to finish it though. And there he goes. He takes over P4 as Ilott drops now to P6 with VK and now Di Francesco demoting Ilott further outside of the top 6. And now Grosjean. Happily all these laps coming in below Armstrong's time, but just under 6 minutes to go in the session. 5:51 to be exact. Lundgaard is doing a fucking brilliant job this year. As Dixon now puts in a lap. Good enough for P2. Armstrong slides down to P5 now in the pecking order. That's still good enough, but like I said, 5 minutes and 21 seconds to go in the session. For those of you trying to sync up. Armstrong struggling a bit on the second push lap. He's 2/10 down on what he's done previous. He's only 2/10 off Herder, which, to be fair, is a bloody good effort. As Grosjean now pops in a time of 106.50000. And now Power pushes Armstrong outside the top 6 where he needs to be. This is what I was talking about. Plenty of laps to come from plenty of quick pedalers here. And that was all on the black tyre, so the harder compound tyre. Everyone getting their banker in. And now they'll throw the reds on, the stickier tyre. Less durability, of course. As it looks like Lundgaard's still out there. And Armstrong leaves his pit box. 4:05 in the session to go. The massive red line between P6 and P7 is the cutoff to progress to the next phase of qualifying. To Azzy_OC asking that question. Welcome to IndyCar. If you've never watched it before, welcome to a new substance addiction. It's a great series, but if you're a fan of Armstrong, sometimes it hurts. So we see Lundgaard now on a cracking lap. Puts it to the top of the sheets with a 105.8933 to Herder's 106.299. Bearing in mind that is with the softer compounded tyre, so he's found 4/10 in that change in rubber. And he's going to crack on for another one. He's got the foot pinned. His Lundgaard here. He fancies one more as he goes very deep into turn 2 at the hairpin. Hard to know how much time he would have lost there. Armstrong now on an out lap, as is most of the rest of the field. So we see Lundgaard scruffier into this lap than the last. Oh, fuck me, I need a drink. Oh, sorry about that. Bit of a tickle in the back of the old throat there. We're back now. Here's Armstrong. So we're watching Armstrong on his way around now. Has a bit of a snap there. I'm not good when Armstrong's under pressure at talking. Sorry. Go on. To P3, that might be enough. Might. There's heaps of guys on laps. It's certainly not done yet. I don't know if that's going to be enough. He'll continue to push on, but he's already a tenth down on this lap. Slid to P5 already as well, with Dixon half a second up. Power 2/10 as well. VK on a lap too. DeFrancesco, it's not looking grouse as Dixon goes to second. Kirkwood at the top of the timesheets right now, by the way. And we're out. We're in P7 now. As Armstrong's now, he's slightly kind of almost back on a lap, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. No, I think we're fucked. I've really struggled on the red tyre. So Armstrong and Ilott right next to each other. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The IndyCar timing screen display on the broadcast is shit and makes it very difficult to figure out what's going on. So we'll end up P9 for this session for Armstrong. He'll be disappointed with that. Struggling to switch on at Mid-Ohio, I think, so far. That's all right. We'll stay calm and race forward. Well, yeah. Not really too short to do now. I mean, Dixon's P2. That's good news. They're very happy about that. Grosjean's not made it. He's looking unhappy. How far off were we? Yeah, we're about 2.5 tenths off. So you see Ilott jumping out of the car. It's a very unglamorous racetrack here. It's quite nice looking as far as the greenery and everything else, but outside of that, it's quite pedestrian, especially Armstrong. It looks kind of like an off-white t-shirt at the back of his race suit there, which is unsurprising if you've seen half his wardrobe. I mean, he's still the top rookie in that session. We're clutching at straws there, though. So we'll line up 18. But, hey, look, room for improvement. Well, today kind of sucks, doesn't it, folks? I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Let's have a gander at what's going on in the chat. A little bit of chat about top rookie. I believe that's an award. I'm not sure if it's the rookie championship, which we should walk. Feeling quite deflated now. And I've got to go to a margarita party after this. I'm not really in the mood. What's my comfort meal? Pizza. Do a pizza. I fancy just a good old, like, cry and an early bedtime as we hear from Marcus Armstrong. Sorry, I'm being quite silent here. I was just listening to Armstrong's answers. Yeah, keeping a professional face on it, but you can see he's not totally stoked, not totally comfortable with the circuit and the car so far this weekend, which is a shame, but oh well, plenty of laps still to come. Um, Somebody saying VK in with a shout at one of the hottest drivers. He's good looking, nice even facial hair. Doesn't quite do it for me though, I must say. Would love to see if we can get an opinion on Polo's dad. No, I'm not related to Tony Blair. Squash that. Um, yeah. So yeah, Marcus is out. Clem's been disqualified. Uh, that's pretty much the update. Do. Do you know what? You gotta. I don't know. Fuck. Some previous race winners here. Some information on the screen. Most people who have won have started from pole here. So, um, whatever. I'm going to leave it there before I get clinically depressed. Um, and I'm just gonna go now. It's been a tough day. It's been a very tough day. And I've got to go do some other stuff now. And there's no point in watching because we're not in qualifying anymore. Um, yeah. Hey, have a good one, everyone. I'll be back. I'll return tomorrow for the feature race in F2, and again for tomorrow night's IndyCar race. So thanks for tuning in. Sorry it's been so depressing and short, but it's somewhat out of my control. Somewhat. Not completely, but somewhat. Um, Hope you have a better evening than I've had. Grouse. Cheers. Backbones.